We're doing college football player props here on PrizePicks for the national championship game Monday, January 9th. Before we get started, there's a link in the description below to sign up for PrizePicks, or you can use promo code TUFF to sign up. PrizePicks will match 100% of your first deposit. There's also a Discord link in the description where the main server is completely free, as well as Patreon link where I do post all the plays I'm making on PrizePicks for each given sport that I do play. Again, let me know in the comments below how you guys feel about these props afterwards. And I do also need to mention I'm not a gambling expert. This is not financial advice. Simply just plays I'm personally looking at making, hopefully giving you guys some insight and analysis to make your own player prop decisions here. But let's get into you guys. The spread for this game, 63 over under. Georgia is 12.5 point favorites in this game. Weather is not going to impact this game whatsoever here. We do have to talk about the possibility of Kendre Miller being out for this game. Currently, I guess he's still a 50-50 for media day. He was, wearing a knee brace, black sweatpants. This is obviously going to impact TCU's offense and how they do things. He obviously led TCU with 1,400 rushing yards, 50-50. Most likely going to suit up and try either way, he says. So obviously he's not going to be at full strength for this game, which should impact some player props here for this matchup. But I like two props here for this game. I'm going to give two props that I like that I'm locking in as a two-man power. And then I'm just going to talk about some other props just to give you guys some more information, more analysis, just, to help you guys make your own decisions here. But let's get into it. The first one I'm targeting is going to be Stetson Bennett. I'm targeting his over 23.5 fantasy score. Now, earlier in the week, this was at 22.5. But I still like it at 23. He's hit the over on this 3 of his last 5 games, both the SEC championship, he had 26, and then in that semifinal, he had 33. The only risk here, obviously, for Stetson Bennett is if it's a blowout. TCU not having Kendre Miller, but, things like that, Georgia being pretty elite. But again, this is a college football championship. It's not like TCU is just a weak team. But I definitely think Stetson Bennett here at 23.5 is a strong play. People said that last week in that CFP final, he didn't have the best game. I mean, he still threw for close to 400 yards, 3 touchdowns, threw a pick. Was at negative 18 rushing yards. It still had a rushing touchdown here. But just take a look at kind of his floor here. If we go to PrizePicks, right, and we take a look at his fantasy score, this game against LSU where he had 26.36 fantasy score, which is 3 fantasy points over his line today, right, against LSU. Stetson Bennett in that game, he had 23 for 29, 274 passing yards and 4 touchdowns. Again, had no rushing yards and no rushing TDs. I think in this game here, if this is getting him 26, I definitely think he can have a very, very similar game to this game. Probably even more passing yards than 274 in my opinion. I just think if this is his floor at 26, 23.5, a strong play for Stetson Bennett. They're a pass-heavy offense. National championship games, Stetson's going to show out in his last college football game here. I think, how Stetson did last week against Ohio State, which was definitely a shootout. I think this game has all the makings of another shootout as well. And the second prop I'm targeting is going to be a rush attempts prop. It's going to be Max Duggan over 9.5 rush attempts, quarterback for TCU. Now he's hit this in his last 2 games, 15 and 15, so which is substantially over 9.5. Kind of surprising that this line isn't 9.5. Maybe Vegas knows something. Kendre Miller is out, so they're going to be more pass heavy because they can't really run those read options with Kendre Miller. But the backup running back for TCU, in my opinion, is a good player. I think it's Demercado. Let me see. I mean, he's a legitimate running back. It's not like they he ran for 622 yards on 107 attempts. So I mean, he gets the same amount of attempts as Kendre Miller. He's well over 1,000-yard running back as well. He's been on the team for a while now. You can see here, he's had in the championship game, he had 17 carries for 150 and a touchdown. So a great spot here for Max Duggan without Kendre Miller. I think TCU is going to have to do everything they can to push the ball down the field and get points on the board with the 63 over under here. Max Duggan, just taking a look at his game log this season, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times this season he has hit the over on this one. But if you take a look at matchups in primetime matchups here, Michigan, Kansas State 15, against Texas he had 10, against Texas Tech he had 12, against Kansas State he had 15, against Oklahoma State he had 11, Kansas he had 9, and then SMU he had 10. So pretty much in every ranked matchup or every big time game he had over 9.5 rush attempts here. Without Kendre Miller, I think he's going to probably have to rely on his legs a little bit more here. So I'm taking rush attempts as opposed to his rush yards, just because you lose yards for sacks. So I'm taking rush attempts here for Max Duggan. these are the two plays, the two pick power that I am going to be running. But I just want to also talk about some other props that I do like or find interesting for this game. Punts for Jordy Sandy is interesting to me, just with how good that Georgia defense is. He punted 6 times against Michigan. They still put up a ton of points. So I think there's going to be a lot of possessions for both teams. This is an interesting one. Not sure. This was at 4.5. Not sure if I still want to play it at 5, but I do definitely think this one is interesting here. Wouldn't mind taking a look at this one. I do like Stetson Bennett pass completions in this game. Back-to-back games of 23. I think they're gonna be throwing the ball as well. And then I like some receptions props. I do like Tay Barber and Darius Davis. Tay Barber maybe a little bit safer floor here at 2.5. I do like this one. I think, again, like I said, TCU is going to have to be throwing the ball. I like Brock Bowers at 4.5. I think this is a little bit too low. Biggest game of the year. Stetson Bennett's favorite target here. And then I also like receiving yards. I like Adonai Mitchell at 42.5. I think this has the highest odds going over. I think it's -145 on FanDuel to go over 42.5. I mean, he could hit this in one single play, honestly. And then tackles plus assists, which is a fun one here for college football. I do like Johnny Hodges. He's the leading tackler for TCU. We know Georgia loves to play down the middle here, so this is an interesting one as well. And then also, I mean, obviously the pass rush plus reception CD. I mean, this is an interesting one too. Stetson could hit this. So could Dugan, if it's a high-scoring game. I mean, 63 over/under, very interesting. Just really quickly, also, I do like McIntosh fantasy score. I mean, this has been pretty cash. If he gets those checkdowns from Stetson Bennett's PPR, I like that as well. So these are the two pick powers that I'm talking about that I do like, and then obviously those plays I talked about are interesting ones as well. You guys should take a look at. Again, college football championship, last day of college football this season. Let me know in the comments below you guys feel about these two props. Drop a like on this video, hit that subscribe button, and as always, have a great day. Or let's cash.